the new Vitrara, Maruti Suzuki's first electric car coming to India. Well, we're now seeing some videos on it. The press car's out, but we don't really know anything about the car, and that's a problem. Because Maruti Suzuki, when they're bringing an EV to India, with the whole EV revolution and all that going on, it's a big deal. Because when Maruti Suzuki brings something, everyone knows it, and everyone most of the time ends up competing against it because it's Maruti Suzuki. And because of that, the e-Vitara, well, everyone's having a lot of high expectations for it. But the fact that the car doesn't really, well, we don't really get any prices or official specs for it, it is a problem. And it's concerning that they're not giving us the stuff. Considering the fact that this car is already on sale in other countries, that it's being manufactured and exported from here. So they know, well, I guess they should know what the range and power and all that should be. Now, price is fine. Maybe they can't give us the price yet, but the range and all that, they should be able to tell us. I mean, it's been out in the real world. And the fact that they're not telling us that, it is concerning. Now, what does the car look like? Honestly, this looks like a normal car. And it's not something I was expecting for an EV. Now, the EVs we all see, they have these long light bars. They look different. They don't have a front. The front is pretty plain. When you see those cars, you kind of can tell that those are EVs. But this car, honestly, it doesn't really look like an EV. It looks like a compact, well, not a compact, a mid-sized SUV. Now, it does look a lot different from the SUVs Maruti Suzuki sell in India. It doesn't really look much like the Grand Vitara or anything. But this car, well, it looks okay. I mean, it looks a bit too tame for an EV. And I guess that's not a bad thing, but I guess we were expecting something wild since it was an EV. But the design overall, it looks like a good design. Although it feels a bit too compact. Maybe that's just the way the design is, and that's how it feels when you look at it. But anyway, the car, we're seeing the car, and from the reviews and all that, it seems like this car is going to be more focused on fuel efficiency, well, not fuel efficiency, range, rather than performance. And I guess that is a good thing. I mean, as great as those big power numbers are, using them in the real world, it's not going to be that effective. You're not going to be able to use that stuff all the time. And when you're in the city, I mean, that instant power, it might be a bit of a problem. You know, since there's no lag and all, the reaction stuff, it's a bit of an issue. So I guess if it's a bit more tame in terms of the power delivery and gives us more range, which is something that everyone in India cares about, I think this car could work. Now, I think the version that's being sold outside the country, there's a 61 kilowatt hour battery pack that's on offer with that car. I think there's two battery packs. I think the bigger one's the 61 kilowatt hour battery pack, and that has a claim range of 543 kilometers. So I'm guessing that in the real world we can assume, well, maybe 453, but on the safe side, over 400. And for 61 kilometer battery pack to give us 400 kilometers of range, now that sorry about that. Now that, honestly, yeah, that's a decent range. 61 kilowatt battery pack giving us 400 plus kilometers of range. I think that's okay, considering the competition that's it's going to be facing with the Harrier EV, the B6, the the Sierra EV and the Creta EV and all that stuff. Now, it seems like this car, the interior quality is really improved. Seems like a quality interior for the segment. And the only problem that seems to be there is the fact that the back seats, well, they're not the best. And I guess it makes sense because of the EV stuff and the fact that it needs to have a battery pack under the floor and all that. So the back seats, it is a bit compromised. It doesn't seem terrible, but it's not going to be as good as a nice car. And then there's the trunk. The trunk seems to be small too. Although under the lid of the trunk, there seems to be space. So yeah, in terms of pure utility or space and all that, it doesn't seem like the best. And for this car to succeed in India, I feel like Maruti Suzuki is going to have to price it really aggressively. And, I mean, they could, with the sales numbers they have, they could eat up some of the cost and price it really aggressively and make it really cheap and affordable. Now, how cheap would this car be? Well, I'm guessing this car is going to be over 20 lakhs on road. Anyway, you look at it. Sorry, I seem to have a bit of a cough. I mean, it's probably going to be 23 or something, or 23 or 24 or something. That range is something we can probably expect for this car. But if it's priced aggressively and you can get all the stuff, the great options for around 20 lakhs or something, that would be huge and it could really disrupt the market. Now, whether Maruti Suzuki can do that or will do that, we have to wait and see. But if anyone can do it in India, it's probably them. And from what I'm hearing of the reviews, in the city when it's driving at steady, slower speeds, the range seems to be really good. And I'm guessing that this car that they're targeting for, I think this is the car they're specifically making to specifically target a segment of people in the Indian market that want an EV. But the prices and all that stuff is a bit of a problem. Now, how well will this EV sell? Well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of these cars that will be sold initially. I mean, a lot of people are interested in Maruti Suzuki EV. And if they come up with a battery warranty of 20 years or something, that could be huge. This thing could sell like hotcakes. I mean, the battery warranty is a big concern for people who are buying these EVs, especially these expensive EVs. And Maruti Suzuki can bring out a huge battery warranty. That could be a game changer, and they could become the market leader for EVs very quickly. And even with the compromises in the boot and the back seat, I think people will be okay with it. So, the Maruti Suzuki Vitrara, let's wait and see what happens when this car comes out. And them not giving us the prices, I'm hoping they're trying to surprise us and shock us in a good way with the really cheap prices. And let's wait and see, I guess. But honestly, this is going to be a very interesting car, considering the fact that Maruti Suzuki is the one bringing it. And that the fact that this is a car that's already on sale. So if there's anything that they need to tune with or have issues with, they can fix it before the car comes to India. And yeah, this is something very interesting. So let's wait and see what happens when this car finally comes to India. I don't know, I think it's coming in 2026. I mean, it's already been produced here, so maybe 2026. I don't think it will be that difficult to bring it here in 2026. But yeah, let's wait and see when the car finally comes out and Maruti Suzuki finally joins the EV race in India. And whether or not they will dominate. Which, since it's Maruti Suzuki, there's every possibility that they could dominate.